All eyes are on the sky, the snowbanks, the rivers, and streams.
We actually started sandbagging last week.
We have to be prepared with what we are given.
I'll do what I got to do if I got to be up here in the middle of the night sandbagging.
The pieces are all coming together for potentially devastating spring flooding. Good evening. I'm Paul Folger.
I'm Lindsey Brown. Jackie has the night off. Work is underway in cities along area rivers. Out of concern, the water could rise fast. Jay Coles has his eye on the St. Croix River. Beth McDonough is tracking the Mississippi River south of the metro.
But we begin our team coverage with meteorologist Ren Claire, who is in for Dave tonight. Ren.
Good evening. Yeah, so this is the time to prepare you guys, because while we are looking at quiet conditions here into tonight, it's not going to hold. As we head into tomorrow, we're already starting to work in some moisture. We've got patchy fog tomorrow morning, the chance for some freezing drizzle mid to late morning, better chance for that drizzle into the afternoon. But the main headline is this flood watch. That comes into Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon, we're starting to see heavy rain, even the chance for a few thunderstorms. That flood watch is in effect until Thursday evening. How much rain? An additional 1 to 2 inches of rain. But with temperatures this week being above freezing for highs really each day, we're going to be looking at substantial melt of our significant snowpack as well, which melted about 2 to 3 inches here even from yesterday. So as we head into the middle of the week and we're seeing this sort of rainfall, we have the concern for urban flooding. I'm going to have details on the timing of this storm and other flooding concerns coming up in just a bit. Lindsay.
All right, Ren, thank you. The St. Croix River is frozen, covered in snow, and actually quite picturesque tonight. It's beautiful, but it could soon turn dangerous.
Jay Coles is live in Stillwater, and Jay, the city is really getting serious about what could be coming downstream.
Paul, things are moving quickly here in Stillwater. Now, I'm standing not far from the old lift bridge here on the St. Croix River. I'm in a parking lot. This parking lot, along with every parking lot in Stillwater east of Water Street to the end of town, will be closed starting Monday for flood preparations and, of course, snow removal. And I've also learned just tonight, this is new, the mayor of Stillwater tells me the city is preparing to build a 15-foot high flood wall from one end of the town to the other.
Just getting ready for hopefully a pretty good Monday night here.
Mark Hansen watches the inside of his restaurant very closely. But like others along Stillwater's Main Street, his attention is now focused outside on the St. Croix River.
And if it's a catastrophe, then if every little bit helps, then I'll do it.
Mark's Fusion Bistro in the downtown area has survived flooding in recent years, even some serious flooding. But the federal government says this year is shaping up worse. There's now a 90% chance there will be major flooding here.
Like I said, I'll do what I got to do. If I got to be up here in the middle of the night sandbagging, with me and my wife, then we'll do it. In order to, anything you can do to help, I'll do it. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Record-setting floods in 1965 wreaked havoc on Main Street, so Stillwater is keeping tabs on how this year's snowpack compares to 1965. To give you some perspective on how much water we're talking about, this mark right here is the highest the St. Croix River has ever flooded. That's 1965. That's almost shoulder height on me right here. So that means the water was this deep on me from here all the way across the parking lot to Main Street, which is a block away. Stillwater Mayor Ted Kozlowski tells me the city is ready to start building a 15-foot levee stretching the length of town.
It's huge. Yeah, it's absolutely, it's huge. It's a huge effort.
The city now has a Facebook page asking volunteers to sign up to help build the flood wall now.
Everybody's ready. We just kind of have to say go at some point.
And Mayor Kozlowski says that go date is literally any day now. Reporting live in Stillwater, Jay Coles, 5 Eyewitness News.
I'm Beth McDonough live in Red Wing, and this is an area with 3 major rivers, the Mississippi, the Cannon, and the Zumbro. There's a lot of water here already. There could be even more in the coming days, and that is why emergency response teams met today from various communities to talk planning. And I also spoke with a man who makes his living and worries that he could lose it to the water. With parts of the river still frozen over and the water level at 3 feet, which is 11 feet below flood stage, the mighty Mississippi doesn't seem so mighty.
What the good Lord brings us.
But Brad Smith has weathered enough storms over 50-plus years to know how quickly that can change.
I'm nervous, as well as along the river should be. There's a lot of snow on the ground, and if it was to melt all at once in this rain, which I'm really worried about. That could, speed up the melt.
That matters because he owns the Harbor Bar on the Wisconsin side of the water.
2001 was a major flood.
Smith installed this pole to help hold up the building.
That's how high it got.
And keep track of when it floods and how much.
I think I was closed for 4 months.
Folks who dare to live on the river said they're worried about protecting their boathouses from damage caused by floating trees, the kind of hazards the Director of Public Works prepares for.
It's mostly the closing of the road when the water gets to a certain height.
Those in the floodplain like Levee Road and Encata, where barges load cargo, the marina and the wastewater treatment plant are located. Even traffic from Wisconsin to Minnesota could be compromised if the snowmelt and runoff are significant.
The Highway 63 bridge is being replaced as well, so they're kind of fighting the water as well.
Water is part of the artwork on the outside of Brad Smith's restaurant, and he'd like to keep it that way.
Got my fingers crossed.
Now, Goodhue County has been declared a federal disaster area 10 times. I checked, 70% of that time is because of flooding. Live in Red Wing, Beth McDonough, 5 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Beth, now officials along the Minnesota River Valley are getting ready too. The Scott County Emergency Manager tells us in the short term, he is concerned with the deep frost line. It will not let the ground absorb rainwater or snow melt, and that can create surface flooding. The county's also meeting with the Red Cross and Salvation Army to prepare for more long-term flooding along the river. You'll remember last summer, the Minnesota Valley was hit hard with flooding. 3 major bridges had to be shut down because of the high water. The county is preparing for that to happen again this spring. Now, away from the rivers, the more immediate threat is street flooding. Across the Twin Cities, crews are busy. They are clearing snow from storm drains before the rain comes. The city of Minneapolis is targeting low-lying catch basins. There are 55,000 catch basins around the city, and it is a big job.
If it's really frozen underneath all that compacted snow and ice, it can take up to an hour just to clear one.
The cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul are also using heavy machinery to spray steam and hot water to break up those clogged areas. Now, spring flooding season is just getting started. Our team of meteorologists and reporters will bring you the very latest information on air. And go ahead, do this right now. Download the KSTP mobile app for instant weather information and stay with 5 Eyewitness News for continuing coverage.
Northbound lanes of Highway 13 are back open tonight in Burnsville. A deadly crash near the intersection of County Road 11 had traffic shut down for hours today. The State Patrol says a car rear-ended a box truck around 3:30. It's unclear who was killed. We'll update you when there's more information. Tonight, we know a Minnesotan is among the 157 people killed in the Ethiopia plane crash.
He was from St. Cloud. This evening, I spoke with Haji Youssef, who told me about this loss. He told me that Moad Hussein was killed in that plane crash. He says Hussein had been to visit his wife in Morocco. He was headed home through a connecting flight in Ethiopia. He says Hussein had graduated from Apollo High School and was well known in the sports community there. The talk among St. Cloud people who knew him is just one of disbelief.
Good guy, and we just cannot reconcile that with what happened, just unbelievable.
The Ethiopian Airlines jetliner crashed shortly after takeoff from the Ethiopian capital on Sunday. Now, this is the second deadly disaster involving the new Boeing 737 MAX 8. Another one went down just last fall in Indonesia. That one killed 189 people. The MAX 8 has been grounded in 3 countries, but it is still flying in the U.S. Southwest, American, and United are all expressing confidence in this jet. Tonight, the FAA says there is no evidence to require it to ground those planes. Boeing says it's developing a software fix from that first tragedy, but there is no indication that issue was involved in the Ethiopia crash.
A big setback today in the push to legalize recreational marijuana in Minnesota. A committee in the Republican-controlled Senate voted down the measure. It's unlikely to get much traction in the Senate, where Republicans have control. So legalization is essentially dead this season. Recreational pot is now legal in 10 states and Washington, D.C. We are now a step closer to new cell phone restrictions for drivers in Minnesota. The bill, which would only allow for hands-free cell phones behind the wheel, made it through committee this morning. If this becomes law, texting, emailing, phone calls, surfing the web, and watching videos would all be illegal. The bill now goes to the House floor. If it passes, it would go into effect in August.
So navigating snowy sidewalks is a problem most Minnesotans have faced this winter, no matter where you live.
It's been tough. In St. Paul, issues in the downtown area could lead to changes for future winters. Brett Hoffland is live in St. Paul to tell us what city leaders are thinking about doing here. Brett.
Hey, Lindsay, yeah, we're outside of the Central Library, and this is where the meeting was tonight. But before people even walked inside, I heard people complaining about the conditions out here. You can see this sidewalk full of slush, ice, and snow, and this is a prime example of why people showed up tonight.
No matter who it is, getting around with a layer of snow or ice on the sidewalk is tough.
Extremely frustrated.
But the task is even harder for those with disabilities.
Probably the biggest problem is with the plow drifts at the ends of the blocks that you sometimes have to climb over to get to the intersection.
These people even have to avoid the sidewalks altogether because it's too messy.
I had to come out, walk in the street. It makes me angry.
That's why many in downtown St. Paul voiced their concerns in front of city and transportation leaders Monday night.
I've noticed and I've seen people out there with walkers struggling to get across.
Russ Stark is the city's chief resilience officer. He stresses it's up to each business to clear off their own sidewalk. But they are exploring the idea of a new downtown improvement district that might help clear these areas faster, similar to what Minneapolis has.
That may be one of the things that's necessary to better coordinate a thorough job of clearing all the sidewalks downtown.
In addition, Metro Transit is working with the city on a pilot program to do a higher level of snow clearance at 15 different transit stops during winter events.
Once the winter is done, we'll evaluate that pilot. We'll share out broadly, the things that we learned from that pilot, and then also what next steps might be.
Winter isn't going away so quickly.
I probably walk a little slower when it is like this.
And while its days this season are numbered, many hope this input is given some thought.
I hope that they'll take it seriously.
Now, I contacted the mayor's office and Metro Transit. They both agree that this historic winter we had with all the snowfall contributed to some of the problems, but they do look forward to working with the community to find some solutions. Live in St. Paul, Brett Hoffland, 5 Eyewitness News.
The Vikings are starting to remodel their roster. We'll tell you who's coming and who's going.
Plus, a Minnesota lawmaker's comment leading the president to call Democrats anti-Jewish. How the White House is defending his remarks.
And melting snow and falling rain could be a dangerous combination. Ren is back, tracking the timing on potential flooding.